Hi everybody, today we're live with a actually useful Digimon video that's not a market watch. Today we're going to talk about some of the best tech cards in, I guess, winter 2025 of Digimon, Q1, whatever you want to talk about. Not necessarily EX8 format, but EX8, 2.5 format, whatever. And before I get started with this video, I do want to go full screen to explain the major differences here between a tech card and a staple card. So a staple card is something you have to play because your deck's engine kind of requires you to play these cards. For example, Mirage Galgamon should be playing blue boosts, trainings, and scrambles. Those are staples to give your deck max consistency and efficiency. Whereas all hybrid decks have to play Ukomons, except for like maybe even red hybrid. But like purple hybrid, yellow hybrid, blue hybrid, and yeah, even a lot of red hybrids. Gotta play Ukomons because you're not going to use your rookie slots for anything else. It's not like you're building a stack in the back. You're trying to get combo pieces to play your tamers, to roll your tamers, not your Ukomons. So Ukomon is like a staple. It's either a card you play in your deck because you have to play it, because you might as well play it, or you don't. It's that simple. Tech cards are a little bit different. Tech cards are cards that you throw in your deck to kind of solve a problem outside of your deck doing what it does. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? For example, I'm trying to think of like a good old example, right? When I played Ancient Greymon in BT9, I decided to play Gaia Forces. Why? Because Gaia Forces were needed to help get rid of all that pesky strong tower stuff in the format that existed. That was a tech choice. I did not need to play Gaia Force in Ancient Greymon BT9, but I thought, you know what, this will actually help me in a non-linear way to my deck profile, deck pick, and other things as well, like Holy Flame and Yellow Hybrid and BT8, and you can think of tech cards out the wazoo. They have to do something that your deck doesn't do, like playing the one-of Hexablau in a Mirage list, for instance, because Mirage is your game plan 9 times out of 10, but sometimes that Hexablau really helps you in critical situations, and you put it in your deck to solve those efficiencies that your deck can't otherwise deal with. So I hope that helps. I rambled a little bit, but now the ramblings aside, let's get into what actual good tech cards exist nowadays. So over here we start with Medieval Gallantmon. The whole reason this video is existing in the first place, right? It basically costs 7 to play with its effect. Alliance and Vortex, or when Digivolving, you may suspend a Digimon. Then you may delete one of your opponent's 8,000 DP or lower Digimon. For each suspended, increase DP 3,000 DP to that. Then all turns when something is played, activate the when Digivolving effect. So this is a tech card that you could throw in your deck. I wouldn't argue it's a staple. You don't have to play this card in every deck. But if you think that your deck has a problem and needs some cleanup on aisle 5 type of movement, you might play Medieval Gallantmon, because Medieval Gallantmon is good at that. There are a lot of decks that play Digimon by effect, and Medieval Gallantmon is really good at punishing those decks. Lugamon plays things by effect, for instance, just an example there. You know what? Medieval Gallantmon might help you. Or maybe some other toolboxy deck that plays cards by effects, and boom, Medieval Gallantmon helps you out there. It's just something that you can throw in if you want to. You don't have to. Some decks, it is kind of a staple, I'll admit, but for other decks, you can tech it in. Like sometimes if I'm playing a deck and I need deck space, like I have a little bit of room to fill, or I notice something isn't really working, I'll lot this format. I'll find myself just trying to throw in a Medieval Gallantmon or two, see if it helps against certain matchups. And sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. That's what testing is for, right? So Medieval Gallantmon, probably one of the more popular tech cards of the current format. Death Exmon would be, the one behind, so to speak. Death Exmon in BT9 here used to be the definitive tech card. You used to throw this in if you needed a way to handle wide boards. And to its credit, it is still seeing play today, albeit not a lot of play, but if your deck has a problem dealing with really wide boards, Death Exmon might help you overcome those boards. I would play Medieval Gallantmon over it 99 times out of 100, but Death Exmon can be considered a tech card that you could play. Another cool tech card, by the way, I grabbed most of these from the Facebook post that I made. A lot of good suggestions there. Black Gautamon Uver. This card can play itself from security, which is cool, but the on-play effect is even better. By returning a Digimon card from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck, draw one. This allows you to remove a critical piece from your opponent's trash that might prohibit them from playing out their combo. For example, you might Black Gautamon Uver away their Velgarmon in a purple hybrid deck, and all of a sudden, they're caught with their pants down. So maybe if you're playing a purple deck, this is a tech card you throw in. Maybe it's a purple hybrid player to help the mirror match, or maybe you're playing Lugamon, or maybe you're playing Demon Lord or something, or another purple generic toolbox deck, and you think, you know what? I want to get a step ahead on the mirror match, because all these purple decks require graveyard to some extent. It'd be really cool if I could play a Black Gautamon Uver and just get rid of their combo so I can combo off safely. It's not a bad tech choice. It's really cool to play if you really need that spot removal for graveyard hate. Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode was, on a lot of top of people's tech choices. This is a card that you can play in any purple deck or any yellow deck as just a tech card to help you deal with wide boards. Like maybe it's more appropriate to play this than, say, Medieval Gallantmon if you're playing a yellow or purple deck, because this can just evolve and it can deal with the wide board for you. Not to mention the global effect is always good, and all the end of attack bonus effects are also really nice. But this is a card you can simply throw in if you need help dealing with wide boards. Another one, not so common nowadays, but was mentioned, is Crimson Blaze. Even now and again, I will find myself throwing a Crimson Blaze into a red deck as like an anti-meta call if there's a lot of cards being played by effects. Because Crimson Blade not only deals with the wide board, but it also has that floodgate effect that prevents the opponent from playing things by effect till the end of the next turn. That's kind of useful. Now, the only time I teched this in recent history is when I was playing Ancient Greymon with in-release booster 2.0, and I played a copy of it. But, it's not the first time I've seen this around, and it's just good at what it does. It's a little bit of a floodgate. It's nice. Now we move into ace territory. While I don't like aces in principle, and I think they're the wrong direction to go, these are just tech cards. These, unless you're playing Gallantmon, this contributes to your game plan, sure. But like if you're playing just a red deck, like say you're playing a Galaxy deck, maybe you want to throw in Gallantmon Crimson Mode Ace, or maybe you want to throw in Imperial Paladin Mode Ace, or maybe you want to throw in Gobblebond Ace. These are all top-end hand traps that you can throw into your decks that build tall, and they might solve a problem for you, right? And these are ones we see a little more commonly. Like Mirage and Galaxy will play these cards. Galaxy will also play this card, and you also see the odd red deck like Birds. Birds are kind of popping off all of a sudden. Our Bird list that we test with has a Crimson Mode Ace in it. It's just tech. You don't need Crimson Mode Ace in those scenarios to win, but it's spot removal and maybe can win the game for you. Whereas Paladin Mode Ace is really good at cleaning up graveyards, which stops a lot of purple decks in their tracks, and Gobblebond Ace here is just really nice spot removal. It just bounces two things. It's not bad, right? Hand traps are always techable. It's kind of been that way back in Yu-Gi-Oh's days before hand traps were everywhere. Maybe you threw in Veiler, stuff like that. Now, you don't need to play these aces, but they do make good top ends as random tech cards to deal with problems that maybe your deck can't deal with. And some level 6 ones that made the cut on the Facebook post, Shadowswordmon Ace and Tribumon Ace. Now, you might argue that in some decks these are staples, and they are in some deck staples. They are. Absolutely. If you're playing Mother Control or Security Control, you're playing Shadowswordmon Ace. You are. Tribon Ace, if you're playing 3 Great Angels, you're playing this card. It's mandatory. However, you can play this in just other things. Like, I've been known to tech this in Tribimon, Green Toolbox, not Tribimon, sorry, Sendrelmon, and Green Toolbox, and even in Yellow Hybrid. Yeah, I still play Yellow Hybrid. It's crazy. And this, kind of similar, right? I've teched this into the Great Angels. I've teched it into just Yellow Hybrid as well. It's funny. But yeah, these are cards that are on people's list to tech. You can just throw them in and they'll do things against some matchups. It's not too bad, right? The Digivolve 3, having the blocker, and attack target change minus 5,000, cleans up small things. The Digivolve 3 can clean up a tall stack for you. It's nice. Tribimon Ace here plays a Tamer for you and then does DP damage. That's not too terrible. Again, it's spot removal. That maybe your deck could use a little bit of extra spot removal. I know when I play Sendrelmon, it definitely merits the spot removal. Sometimes you just really need it. That extra little DP damage on your opponent's turn comes up. Now we get into Mario's favorite tech cards. I saved 4 cards for the end. These are cards that I always find myself teching in any applicable circumstance that I can possibly squeeze in. Venusmon should be known by everyone by now for me. Venusmon, she's my go-to girl. If I'm playing a yellow deck, Venusmon is being teched in every single time. Every time. Without a doubt. Yeah, I'd say it's mandatory in Yellow Vaccine, sure. But, we play other yellow decks. Other yellow decks do exist. And Venusmon is just nice to have to, floodgate your opponent a little bit, prevent them playing the game. Love Venusmon. She's great. Hexablaumon. I'm a big fan of teching this into some of your blue decks, like Mirage Galgamon. Pretty good. Galaxy. Some people consider this a staple in Galaxy, we can quibble on that if you want. But, nice little tech for that deck, because I think Mirage Galgamon is the best top end in Galaxy, for blue base anyway. Hexablau is just a nice little backup for sure. If you're playing the snow deck, Hexablau is mandatory. It's not a tech card, it's a staple. So yeah, just, I'll throw it in the blue deck here and there. I even tried it in Imperial. Why not, So there is that. And when blue hybrids were popping off, I was also just throwing it in that deck as well. Just a tech card, kind of helps the mirror match. Final Zubagon Punch. If I'm playing a black deck with a big black tower, I am definitely playing Final Zubagon Punch in that deck. My Pyramidimon deck plays Zubagon Punch. Just the one right now. But sometimes Zubagon Punch can just win you the game. It really can. Zubagon Punch is just that random punch for game. It's pretty cool. And last tech card, and someone actually mentioned this in the post, but only one person did, Gravity Crush. Red doesn't have that many ways of gaining memory. Not really. Not as much as other colors do. So having the Gravity Crush for game is something I've been doing since BT9 Ancient Greymon. It's just so nice to have that extra 2 memory to win the game. It's a tech card that helps you with that, helps you with Dorbikmon. Hell, I think we even tried it in Gallantmon, I think. I'm not the Gallantmon player in our group, but I think there's Gravity Crush in there, I think. But yeah, this is a tech card I still continue to play with. It's still in my Ancient Greymon deck right now. It's just extra memory, allows you to OTK just a little bit easier. Not an engine piece per se, not a card you have to play, but I find it really easy. The opponent thinks they're going to win the game because you're at 0 and you can't play, and then all of a sudden you play and you win the game. It's really cool. But that'll do it for tech cards. I hope you found this video enjoyable, resourceful. Did I miss any good ones? Let me know. Do you disagree with any of these? Let me know. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.